Hey there, welcome to the Astro Psyche. I'm Shawna, your counseling astrologer. This is your weekly astrology forecast for October 3rd through the 9th. So this week we have some activity happening with Mercury, Pluto, and then we'll also have a full moon in Aries this week. So I want to share with you first a quote that I feel embodies the energy of this week, and then we'll get into it. So this is from a Sandplay psychotherapist who has since passed. Her name is Dora Maria Kalff, and this is from the book Sandplay. And I'll put the quote and the author's full name in the description box. So she's speaking about how a symbol allows for something that is unknown or invisible to come to light, to become visible. So she says, symbols give voice to implicit, energy-charged images that emerge from deep patterns in human nature, which, when they become manifest, influence human development. Symbols with numinous or religious content give voice to an inner spiritual order that creates the reference to the deity. This order gives human beings the certainty that, among other things, guarantees the development of the personality. And so I thought that this was really perfect for this week because we have some energy, some planetary energy around symbols and allowing for symbols or synchronicity to inform you and where you are in your development. And then this full moon is really also about the development of you, of your personality and your own individuality. So what's going on this week? So one of the biggest factors this week is that Mercury is moving direct again. I was going to say it's moving forward. It's always literally moving forward, but we're seeing it move forward through the zodiac from our perspective. So Mercury was retrograde for the last 3 weeks or so in Virgo and Libra. And this week is the first week where it has stationed direct, and it is moving forward through Virgo and then into Libra. So this week it's moving through that chunk of Libra in the sky. So about 24 degrees of about 24 degrees of Virgo forward, and then next week it's going to move into Libra. So where we're at this week is starting to put together any kind of moving forward on ideas, or even just kind of like connecting the dots on things that you were reviewing or revising, or that you had an idea maybe in the last couple of weeks and now it is time to move toward implementing. That's where we're at this week. And Virgo is really great for this because Virgo is about discernment and being intentional and specific. Virgo is really about doing things one step at a time it can be in a linear fashion, but I think of it as more of like a purposeful fashion. Everything has purpose. The other part of this Mercury situation this week is that this week Mercury will make an aspect to Pluto. So I don't know if I said this, but if you don't already know, Mercury is a planet that symbolizes the mind, the thought process, communication, giving and receiving messages. Mercury is the messenger. And Mercury also helps us to, it's very much about connecting from one place to the other, from one thought to another. This idea of transmission and transmutation and transformation. So Mercury is really can also be seen as a guide or a communicator, or a shepherd, or even a protector to some element as well. So it is very much about business and communication and your thought process. But I want you to also be thinking about Mercury as something which connects, something which bridges us from one thing to another. Now, when Mercury makes this aspect to Pluto, so it's a trine to Pluto, which we like because the trines are experienced as easier for us, a little bit harmonious, things flow. Pluto is about revealing anything that has been hidden or that is taboo or unconventional or even shameful. So this aspect allows for healing to happen, because when we make contact with Pluto in a more harmonious aspect like a trine, it's kind of like an easy catharsis, if that makes sense. So it's like a way of we can think of it as detox, or like a releasing, and that can be the way it manifests. But detox has this connotation of like getting rid of something, and I think Pluto isn't so much about getting rid of, but of more integrating, so that there is a sense of cohesiveness. And that may mean a letting go of situations or people or behaviors, but often it's less about the letting go and it's more about the cohesion of you, the cohesion of your personality, or of things kind of matching up at an inner level. So this is like a big theme around healing thought patterns, healing being Pluto, and then thought patterns being Mercury, healing communication. So it can be a great week to have tough conversations, whether this is with another person in your life or healing conversations with yourself. And the other thing about Pluto is that it really laser cuts into the truth of something. It gets into what is actually going on, what is the root of the thing, what is the most authentic and real and no nonsense, no bullshit, what's actually going on here. And so when we have this with Mercury, it's an opportunity to be very honest with yourself, to be from like an analytical perspective, like what is actually going on here. And the reason that I wanted to use this quote about symbols is that Mercury is also a symbol of symbols. So Mercury is about this idea of taking one thing and connecting it to another, which is what a symbol is. A symbol is like a stand-in for something else that can only be held by a symbol. It's so nuanced and it has so many different properties. And so Mercury has this shapeshifter kind of quality, and it rules over symbolism. And so this quote speaks to, she says, symbols give voice, Mercury, the voice, speech. Symbols give voice to implicit energy-charged images that emerge from deep patterns in human nature. And this to me is totally Pluto, Mercury, because this energy-charged image that emerges from deep patterns in human nature, that is very Plutonian. Pluto is really about patterns that are deep, but also can be either uncomfortable or unacceptable in some way. Things that live in the psychological shadow. The psychological shadow is anything that we deny in ourselves as that is not me. And these can be qualities that are that we don't like, as well as qualities that we admire too. And so this Mercury-Pluto this week is really exploring qualities, patterns, thoughts, ideas, symbols, images, feelings that maybe have been disowned in some way. And how can you reclaim those in a healthy and empowering way? Pluto is really about power as well. And with this, there's like a mental empowerment here that can happen, an empowerment of the consciousness. Now, we also have a full moon in Aries that I said that I would chat about. So this is happening on Sunday or Monday, the 9th or the 10th of October, depending on where you are in the world, at 16 degrees of Aries. So it's kind of like smack in the middle of the sign. And a full moon in Aries is about owning yourself, your individuality, your personal preferences, and uniqueness. There's this boldness with the full moon. And anytime that we're talking about a full moon, we're talking about an emergence of something, a lighting up, and a culmination point. So this can be culmination in your life. It being in the sign of Aries does have this theme around your personal initiatives, what it is that you're driving for, that you're initiating, that you're moving forward on. Aries is a cardinal fire sign. Cardinal signs are about starting something new, initiating the beginning of the journey. And then fire is about passion, it's about determination, it's about creativity and leadership as well. So these may be all themes that are coming up for you, and you can, I highly recommend looking at the house that you have ruling Aries in your natal chart, because that's going to give you more information where there is a culmination in your life personally. Now, the other pieces of this full moon are that it is opposite Venus. So Venus is in Libra right now, so it's opposite that. And it's opposite pretty close. So this also is kind of interesting because we have this this very like driven, direct kind of energy with Aries, and then it's opposite the planet that is about receptivity, which is Venus. So there might be this kind of like where there's this dynamic around asserting yourself and your own needs and your own visions, and balancing that in relationship, and finding kind of this, it could be a balance, but it could also be like finding where there needs to be compromise. I was going to use the word sacrifice, but that didn't quite feel right. Like finding compromise is really what an opposition is about. This full moon is also making an aspect to Mars and Saturn. It's sextiling these planets. And so this, I think, adds a little bit of oomph and strength, and emphasizes that Aries energy that is about determination and willpower. And also, this is the last lunation that we'll have before we move into eclipse season. And so I just want to plant that seed that eclipse season is approaching, and that's usually a time of major transformation, inner as well as outer, and it can be a really therapeutic time, and a time where you are called to make changes that suit your lifestyle. And so I just want to plant that seed that is happening at the end of October into November. And we'll talk more about that as time goes on. But this is like this kind of the last lunation before that change season. Now, I'm going to pull a tarot card for you. And so, I wonder how all of this lands with you, how you're feeling, how this Mercury retrograde period was for you, and yeah, how your weeks have been. So as I'm shuffling these cards, so this is tarot deck that I love, and I want you to, if you have a question or contemplation, I want you to hold that in your heart and focus on your breath and your body. Finding a place of inner stillness. Okay. So this is an alchemical tarot deck. It's called Tarot of the Holy Light. And I picked the Page of Wands. So wow, like this is super fire, right? So I just want you to take in the image, and I want you to notice, imagery is so important. That's the symbol, right? I want you to notice what you felt when you saw this card. Maybe if you have a relationship with the Page of Wands or Tarot, there's something that came up to you, a word, an image, a thought. And if, so we have the sun here, we have two moons, we have this angel kind of dude with a moon, another sun here, and a wand. Is there a piece of this that you're drawn to? And I just want you to notice that and let me know like what comes up for you when you look at this card. There's also, when I'm looking at this, I don't know if you can see this, there's this like symbol here that almost looks almost looks like a Taurus sign, but it's not a Taurus sign. Okay, so what's up with this card? Also, this deck is uses astrological symbolism sometimes, or the seasons, and this is the card of spring. So for me, the Page of Wands is about a couple of different things. It's about create new creative ventures, and it's also about getting new insight, new awareness, new information, communication from other people. It can also be travel as well, or exploring new areas or exploring new ideas. The page, interestingly, is very mercurial because the page is the messenger. It's about, it has this kind of like adolescent energy to it, like this, like vivacious, creative, but kind of like, kind of green energy, like green is in like, not as experienced, but there's a lot of vibrancy here. There's a lot of excitement. And the wands, that suit is about, it's about passion, creativity, business. It's very, like this card is very much about asserting your ideas and trusting your ideas, trusting your vision, trusting your creativity. I pulled this upright, so that to me is to like really lean into exploring new creative passions, and to also like, because it is a page, to look out for messages. And this might be like someone telling you about something, or you have an intuition, or there's something that comes to you in a dream or a meditation. Really, really encouraging card for trusting yourself, and so appropriate for this week too, because we talked a lot about Mercury, communication, but also this full moon in Aries is about celebrating your individuality, celebrating yourself and your passions, and allowing yourself to embrace that fiery part of you. So I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, please let me know and share it with a friend who you think may enjoy it as well. I am wishing you a wonderful week and sending you lots of love and blessings. I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.